Do you have trouble getting started on a painting? Today I'm going to show you how I work back into a previously made journal page and how I come up with some new ideas. Exploring this way is a great way to practice and possibly give you some ideas for future paintings so you're not stuck. And even when you are stuck on a painting, your journal or sketchbook is a great place to go back and look at the things that you've done as a reference. This is what we're going to take a look at, what I painted in my journal. And if we haven't met before, I'm Pat from Scrivener Art and Design in Parksville, British Columbia on Vancouver Island. I'm passionate about sharing my knowledge and helping you on your creative path. If you're liking my videos, give them a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to support me, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account. Thanks so much. Let's watch how it unfolds. I'm going to work on this sketchbook page today. So this is a mixed media journal by Strathmore, the visual journal. And I really like it. It's 90 pounds, 9 by 12 size. And I often write in it as my actual journal page before I paint into it. So a lot of times the background is from me doing morning pages or just journaling to get my thoughts down. So I'm going to paint back into this. This has some collage in it with trees, and there was writing, and then this words that I had found, which that may disappear, but I just thought it was interesting. So I came in and I sketched with some I think I used a Stabilo Markol pencil, so it may run a bit, but what I want to do is bring these figures forward. I've used this color in the background that kind of reflects up some of this snow that's in these images of trees, which I would like to salvage. So the big question is what to do the background in, and I'm thinking of going black just because I have some blacks in it in other places. So not sure if that's going to be the right decision, but hey, you don't know until you try, and we have to take risks as artists to move forward and discover things. So I'm going to be brave and go with a black background here. So this is a plain black. It's not mixed, it's just straight out of the tube. So this is called negative painting or reductive painting, and I do want to make the forms as close as the shape I had, but you can also change the shape when you're doing reductive painting. So for instance, if you had a head that was way too big in your initial drawing, you could bring that down. I'm just going to clean that up. I will probably paint the head, I'm not sure. So in any event, clean it up. Now also, you could put hair or a hat on, and that's what's coming to me right now on this person. I'm kind of following a little bit of what's happening in the paint there. And I may change that, but I just started to see that as a shape that maybe was interesting and could resemble hair or a hat. So that makes this very dramatic. I'm going to continue that line up there. So I'm going to mix a paint to cover this up at the bottom. I don't want those words down there. So I'm going to use some white, and I'm going to add a little bit of this anthracnone blue to it. I'm not sure that's what was used in here, but it looks maybe, it may have been ultramarine. But this is pretty cool as well, so I think I'll just obliterate it. I might add a little touch of black into that, gray it down a little. Now I could have added a bit of orange to push it. So I'm kind of just loosely scrubbing onto here. So I like to have a little orange over here as a reference, but not sure I want it quite as much. Bring that kind of gray color in a bit more. And then I think up here, I think I'm going to take black right to the edge. I didn't clean my brush. Should have a piece of paper in here. So I still had some paint on my brush, so you're seeing the evidence of that lifting up. And I'm just going to take the end of this brush, it's got a bit of a chisel, and try and draw back into here. Just kind of thinking of those tree shapes. So this looks a little odd to me, how that ends. So I'm going to try some orange over here, and I know this is going to be bright. A lot brighter than what's going on there. So I'm going to tone it down with some of my blue, so using the opposite. So it kind of only has half her dress on it. So I feel like it still needs something down here where I took that away, the words, but not something as strong. So I'm just going to hunt for that and see what I can find. So I have my handy little bowl here of collage pieces, just scraps. So I'm going to just hunt through here and see what I find. Okay, so there's a few things here. Let's see what is resonating. So I like that, but I feel like it's a little bit maybe too bold. I do like that. This is just painted newspaper. Not sure. Okay, I like that. I'm liking that. And I can glaze into it. Oh, my paint is still wet there. Okay, I'll see about that. And then trying to bring a bit of the black down. So I like these polka dots. Collage paper, just on paper I made just on computer paper. They are very vocal at this point though. Very strong, but they could be softened down. kind of like it there. Okay, let's not procrastinate too much on this step. You can spend a lot of time trying to come up with the right place, but you can make it right later. You can always cover it up and paint into it. So I'm using matte medium, and I see my paint there is still a bit wet. I'm going to overlap it onto her dress a bit, and I am going to paint over on the top of it just to seal it. So when we seal it in, it's not going to grab any paint I put onto it as much. It won't absorb in. So this old dictionary paper is pretty absorbent, and it's easy to get it really a strong color. So I am picking up a little bit of wet paint here, but I'm actually liking that it's connecting it. So that's interesting. Put a little bit of this Asemic writing. Again, this is some paper that I made just by writing with a pen, a Sharpie pen, on some computer paper. I was going to put that further down and I didn't, but that's okay. Maybe this will go further down. So often we plan where we're going to put collage pieces and then our hand does something totally different. Just go with it. It's probably right, might be better than what you had initially. So don't fight it, don't try and change it, just go with it. So I'm tinting this a little as my orange paint is wet here. So that's good. Okay. So repetition is a good thing, so I'm going to actually put another one of these dots up here. And if you ask me why, it's just, I just really felt like it needed a little bit more repetition there. And I'm feeling that may be a little bit white. So I'm going to mix some tightened buff. So tightened buff or unbleached titanium is, yeah, it's like white paint, but it doesn't have, it's not bleached out. So you get that kind of creamy color. So you just want to come in over top of this and soften it up a little bit so it's not quite so stark and white. Oh dear. Okay, so this over here is kind of bugging me, this little white patch, which is part of the collage. Some snow there. I'm going to just obliterate over that. So I think I'm going to bring these trees' trunks down to the bottom. So just extend those. So there's a little bit of a play on his character, that almost like he has tree legs. So I'm not going to actually put legs on him. So I'm feeling this corner is a little dead. I think I'll try some Asemic writing over this for another layer. And this time I'm going to try black. And I've got this Faber-Castell Pitt pen, just a black, very fine. So let's see how it goes. I have blow dried this part here so that it's dry. You don't want to put your pen in wet paint. So I can't really talk and do Asemic writing. Not that I'm actually thinking of words, but you can think of words and write. But it just, I kind of have to get into my own headspace to do this. So bear with me. Okay, it's writing much better on this paper than it is on the painted surface. Okay, that adds some balance down there. Just go up into here a little bit and connect that as well. Okay, I'm just getting out a little bit of turquoise here. Phthalo turquoise is a very strong color, but I think I'd like to add a little bit more color to him in places. So I'm going to take some white and I'm going to add ever so little into this because you'll see just how strong that is. It's a very strong color and I want to mute it down. So I am going to put a little black in it. So that's making a tone when you add black. Maybe it needs a little zip more color. So I have some charcoal or Markall pencil on here that is actually coming up a bit. So it's going to make it a little bit more gray. And I think I want to bring it down a little as well. He's very unusual with his trees and all. Put a little bit of blue in that now. So now I feel like I need to break this up maybe a little bit. I'm thinking of continuing my trees as white. Okay, add a few over here. My pen's not working very good. Not sure if it's out of ink. I think it just doesn't like the paint. So I think I'd like to tone this down more and bring a little more attention to her face. So what I'm going to do is use some of this Titan Buff, a little bit of my orange mixture. Also going to bring this down a bit. So I'm picking up some of the pencil here. Just going to draw this in. So although I didn't leave the orange paint for the hair, it informed my decision about making that. So that's the intuitive process. So her head looks a little bit off to me, a little bit like a light bulb. Let's just come back in. Make her neck a little heavier. So I'm going to let that dry. Not sure I'm going to change him a lot. See how this goes. Bring her hair around more. Okay, and I want to tone this down. So I don't want to paint right over it, but I want to push those circles back. They're a bit distracting, but I like having them there. So just push them back, and I may push all of this back. So I think I'll use a different tool for that. So kind of scrape some on here. Hopefully that doesn't all run. So again, another layer. Right or wrong. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong because it can all be changed. So oftentimes if you do a glaze over everything, you get a nice effect. So yeah, I'm feeling this is maybe a bit too bright. I like the idea of the sun there. So just kind of push some of this back a bit. And maybe even use a bit of blue in this area. So getting kind of a grungy look happening, but I don't want this to be the focus. I really want the focus to be more on that, but this was such a kind of blank corner that it needed a little bit more interest. I'm just trying to make up a darker shade here for the other side of her face. Give it a little bit of a shadow. Okay, not dark enough. This paint has gone a bit granulated, so it's not going on very smooth. It's kind of bumpy. So I'm going to try a few things here. This is a Lyra Color Giant in a teal. So I'm just going to try and do a little bit of sketching. Bring a little bit of that teal from over here onto her. I also have an art bar, which is kind of like a waxy crayon. Don't know if it'll enhance it. It's a bit of a different color. Kind of goes on like a wax crayon. And this is a Derwent sketching pencil. So I may just go back into her face a little and just put something that kind of resembles a eye line and maybe a nose, just to give her a little bit of facial features there. So I think what I'm going to do is continue these trees down to the bottom of my page, with some of them anyway. So I'm just using a Sharpie marker. So I'm going to bring a little bit of black paint onto there to bring this tree line down. I think the title for this could be something like A Walk in the Woods. That's kind of what's starting to happen here. Just the trees and the interesting background. So that kind of pushes back some of the interest from underneath there. Just make a little bit of a shadow side. Well, I think I'll leave this one where it is for now, not do any more on it. I've created a lot of layers, and it's kind of interesting. It's nothing I would do if I was just starting on a blank slate. And the trees from the collage really did inform this piece. So yeah, now what to do with all this leftover paint? Make another messy background. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have comments or questions, please leave them below. I'm happy to answer them. And if you have ideas for other videos that you'd like me to do, share that as well. So stay well and creative, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.